Hello and welcome back to CEO.CA's coverage from Beaver Creek 2024. Today I'm excited to be talking all things NAC with Tony Moreau, CEO of American Eagle Gold. Tony, how are you finding the conference so far?
Pretty good. I'm happy you're excited to talk today.
I'm excited to talk to everyone. Gold's all-time highs. What better time to be talking gold and copper at American Eagle? It's been a big year or two for you guys, and I guess perception about NAC's size and scale has really grown. I want to see, how has your vision for this project evolved over this time period? And especially, are we prioritizing resource expansion here in NAC or focusing on these high-grade discoveries?
We're de-risking right now, so we're building it out.
Yeah.
Our key is just to drill and keep on pushing the boundaries. Every 100 meters, we move north or south, add 75 to 100 million tons. Back the envelope, forward-looking statement, pretty optimistic. Any company could come in with the drill holes and get sent out a 50 million ton resource. Our focus is continue to find those high-grade zones within that giant potential deposit, forward-looking statements that we have.
Yeah.
And the further north we hit, the higher grade the copper seems to be. And we just hit on NAC 2433, stepped out north. We thought 2205 kind of bookended the property and looking like a really good hole. So it gets us really excited.
Yeah.
And then if you're looking at a clock, we've only hit about 20% of our bow.
Okay.
So as long as we keep on hitting when we're going around, what's the point of doing a resource? Am I doing it for someone on CEO.CA? Do they even know what they're looking at? Any mining company that comes in that wants to buy you out, well, first of all, they need to do those infills. They can't just hope it infills, which we are, and we are getting to hit really high grades in between there. But, any company that comes in, they do their own resource estimate with the data you give them. They're not dependent on SRK or some other company that did it. So, and I think it kind of creates a bit of a glass ceiling for your company, and we don't want to do that. And if people look at our map, think of a clock. If you look at 7 o'clock, 10 o'clock, that's pretty much where we've drilled. But we still have 10 o'clock all the way around to 7 o'clock to still drill. And people are like, oh, can you do a big step out like this and that? Well, every hole costs about $300,000 to $400,000. We want to do our stuff based on science and probability. But we're going to do at least 2 big step outs this year. I think one of them is going to go north from 2205 going northeast, and the other one's going to drill right down that IP embayment zone.
Okay.
But you got to remember, when you do hella drilling, it costs you about half a hole. So if you did 20 hella drill holes, you'd be able to do 30 of them without hella support.
Yeah.
So when you're putting those holes in the ground, you got to make sure that they're going to hit. Otherwise, you're kind of wasting money. But we're going to put 2 holes out there. We're going to show people us continue to work around the clock. And the key is just drill, drill, drill.
Drill, 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 working around the clock. Love to hear it. I want to talk a bit about this season's exploration program. There's still drill results pending from this, or what can people expect in terms of news flow over the next couple months?
Well, our drill results are going to come in, and we're between now and our assays are ready. Look, we're going to have good results. We've put out 5 of our 20 to 23 drill holes.
Okay.
So we got a lot more news to go.
Yeah.
And guess what? When you're basing drill holes on science, the holes towards the end of the season are probably going to be your best ones. So this recent sell-offs, kills the ego a bit, but, we're fully funded. I think people got to look at where we did our raise. Our raise was at $1.04. Couldn't have been better timed.
Yeah.
And we're fully protected through the end of 2025. So we got 3 things I think that you need to be a junior mining company. If you're a junior mining company, what's the point? You're either going to go into production, which is super tough. I work for a big mining company. It's hard for them to produce and build properties on time.
Yeah.
The reality is to create that liquidity event. So how do you create that liquidity event? 3 things are important. Initial CapEx. Why do we have advantage? Because we can pretty much drive a golf cart on our property and not near a glacier, on a mountain, or in a jungle, or in the Arctic. So, that significantly reduces your initial amount of money you got to pay. And then if you talk about payback, how do you pay back that smaller CapEx as fast as possible? You need a high-grade zone at surface that you can pay back as soon as possible. And that's why we highlighted that gold zone. Yes, it's got copper, but it's all near surface. It's looking anywhere between 0.6, 1% copper equivalent. And guess what? It's getting bigger.
Yeah.
And the other key is you got to keep that stock up, keep on building it up. But the traders are the smartest ones out there, and they know when you need to raise. But we have funding for the next, year and a half. So we got cash. Cash is king. Even if a great property, we're going to sell down next to zero. People are expecting a raise. So they want that raise to be as low as possible.
Right. Yeah. I mean, let's talk about that. There was a bit of a sell-off after some news, a couple of weeks back. In light of this kind of market conditions, how are you managing people's expectations when it comes to results and maybe anticipation of a raise?
I think if people are investing in this business, you should know what you're investing in. I think people they just want a 10x. They think results are linear. And I guess when people saw 17, they thought there was another 17. So they thought, maybe these guys are quick 10x. But it's not how things go. Things aren't linear. And I think a lot of the sophisticated traders, they know the mentality of kind of this fast money.
Yeah.
So when they know that most of this fast money does not know what they're looking at. So unless it's like an absolute incredible result, they know if they put some sell pressure on it, they'll get those fast money skittish. And that fast money goes, is this a made hole? Is it a bad hole? Well, it's red. And then a 5-cent loss kind of turns into a 20-cent loss when the result was actually good.
Yeah.
And then they win on the other side because this trading money is really smart. And then they come and they buy those shares
back up
40 cents.
Yeah.
So it's a good opportunity for investors. But if you're in this business, it's not for the faint of heart. And you got to know what you're investing in. And you got to be able to know, what's good, what's bad. And I think in the long term, I don't think traders ever really win. It's about long-term value. So if you got a portfolio, I think maybe only 5% should be in the junior space. Pick 3 junior miners and hold them for 3 years. Hopefully one of those turns into a 10x. The other 2, might go down to 0, but I think we have a story. We have a path to a potential liquidity event. We're going to continue to build this story and get it out there. And I think NAC's really special. My uncle founded it. He did the original Nappy at Grasberg and he kind of died and he loved this project. So, not only do I believe in our current team, I believe in him. The reason why we bought in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely. It's certainly an exciting project and ticks a lot of those boxes that you mentioned in terms of, that low CapEx, high payback or fast payback and great infrastructure. I want to talk a bit more about, American Eagle's financials. You spoke a little earlier about how you're allocating capital between heli-supported drilling and regular drill holes. Can you tell us maybe how you're prioritizing capital allocation between exploration, corporate development, and maintaining maybe a bit of a healthy treasury?
This is a really good question. A lot of these companies out there, they're lifestyle companies. They do a raise. They're pretty much just paying for their G&A, not doing any drilling. I want to get our stock price as high as possible, as quick as possible. So when there is a liquidity event, we create shareholder value. The only way you're going to do it, and listen, the only way you're going to do that in this business is by doing drilling.
Yeah.
So, good question. We're about $13.2 million as of our last quarterlies in cash. We pay for all of our G&A just in the interest we have in the bank.
Yeah.
So I would say roughly, you're looking at about 95% of the money we have in the bank's going to go to drill. And try to compare that to really any other company. That's what, the Lundins do. They know drilling is important. That's what they do. But, if you're going to invest in this business, talk to your financial advisor, talk to a geologist, but make sure you invest in a company that has money that's actually drilling.
Yeah.
Not only building their resource wherever they have, but they got potential catalysts down the way.
And how does that relationship with the oil group help you to manage these kind of capital expenses? Because it seems like there's, a fair number of well-run companies under that umbrella.
Well, yeah. So Stephen Stewart's chairman, good friend of mine, really smart guy. It reduces our G&A burn by about 80%.
Yeah.
So we have a CFO. He handles 6-7 different companies. It's not full-time work being a CFO for any junior miner. So if you see one CFO getting like $200,000 a year working for one junior miner, taking the piss, pardon my French, by good English term. So we pay our CFO, 1/7 of what he'd either be paid by just us. Same thing with legal and everything else. Same thing with our office sharing. So that significantly reduces the amount of G&A we have. So the org group's a really good help with that.
Fantastic. Well, just want to wrap up here. Looking ahead, what do you see as maybe some of the critical factors or critical milestones to pass, when we're looking at the development timeline for NAC?
Build around that clock. Keep on drilling. I think look at these big step out holes. Even 33, watch out. Look at these big step out holes are going to be important. If you start showing mineralization on there, It's really proving a theory that essentially this cauldron we have, think about fire going around the cauldron, and then look at our porphyry stock. We kind of have a donut of mineralization we believe around us. I think, I know we're kind of close to the end here, but if you want to look at an analogous, why this thing's a little bit difficult, it doesn't fit your typical porphyry model.
Okay.
You have a lot of holes, they're 0.2 to 0.3% copper equivalent. And then within that, you got like 17, which is like 300 meters of 1%. But if you look at it from, 30,000 feet, we blend it together, probably higher grade copper porphyry than any other undeveloped porphyry play in BC, except for Galore Creek and Shafts Creek, which by the way, are the Golden Triangle near a glacier. But look at what Bruce Jack did. People didn't believe that thing for years. And, Pretium had that project, and then they hit drill holes of about 100 meters at 30 grams per ton, and then, 100 meters of 1 gram per ton. So people thought it was kind of nuggety, but when you looked at it, you blended it all together, it was a really high grade deposit. And guess what? Newmont bought it for over $1 billion. So what I think ours is, if you're looking at a model, it's kind of the analogous of Bruce Jack. You got a lot of, low to moderate grade, and within that, you got these really big plumbs and high grade sections. And guess what? More of these 17s are going to come out and kind of prove that. So if we kind of prove that story along that main zone and then continue to hit mineralization around the clock, I think it's going to get people really excited. And that's kind of our plan.
Well, looking forward to hearing more of those drill updates over the next couple of months. Tony, thanks a lot for joining us.